All right, very fine. And then I'll explain this. We have two meetings tonight. One is called the general membership meeting, and that is this one, and it will be followed by a board meeting. For general membership meetings, we are supposed to have a quorum of 5 people. That means 5, that includes board members and then people from the community. So we already have 5, and so we can hold our meeting. And we need to approve our agenda, and I believe that we can approve it in concert. So I move that we approve the agenda, which I haven't really gone through though, but you've all seen it, I think. So we can just get on with the meeting. Okay. And Gail seconds it. All right, fine. We'll do I hear any dissent from the membership? Okay.
That would be me.
All right, very fine. So let's introduce ourselves quickly. I'm Stephanie Frederick. I'm the chair of the Brentwood-Darlington Neighborhood Association, and I've lived here for 7 years and been associated with BDNA the entire time. Gail, why don't you go next?
I've been with BDNA since I rode the dinosaurs to Lane Middle School. And I'm the other board member.
Yes, she's the other board member present tonight. There are 2 of us. Tina, please introduce yourself.
I'm Tina. I am an advisor to the board. I've been part of Brentwood-Darlington off and on since 2000. And I was part of the board as an active voting member, but stepped aside because, quite simply, pandemic didn't allow me to direct my energy on the things that I'm passionate about. And so I kind of have to be in perpetual motion. So I stepped down off of the board, but I still actively advocate for the board and advise. And I am the driving insane force for our Spring Green event, which is March 23rd. It is a free, but donations are always welcome event. We have Solar Oregon doing a workshop. We have Bikes for Humanity doing a workshop. We have so many different organizations having a table. We have the neighborhood gardens bringing their seed library and plant starts. I have probably 100 plant starts that I'll be bringing to gift. And so please come. It's just a couple hour event in the afternoon on Saturday, the 23rd. Come and join, enjoy, participate. It is going to be fantastic.
It is. It's going to be a lot of fun. When the one we had last year, even though it didn't have as many vendors, that was fun. People really loved coming to the community center and dumping all their cables and old cell phones and all that into the hands of Green Century Recycling. Okay, so Anna, would you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, thank you, Stephanie. I'm Anna Cox, and I'm the president of the Lane PTA, and I live just north of Brentwood-Darlington. It's so close, so I'm right on the edge.
I would consider you a member.
All right, I would love to join. Yeah, I'm very excited about Duke getting sidewalks. Like, that is just thrilling.
Oh, isn't that nice? Yeah, that they're out there working as we speak. Okay, and Lisa Kaufman has joined us. Lisa, would you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Lisa Kaufman. I'm a teacher over at Lane Middle School.
Thank you. Very good. Did you pick up the magnets and the flyers?
I did. Thank you so much.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
you're welcome. And Mary Lou Henrik, would you introduce yourself just really briefly, because you're going to be speaking, so you don't.
I'm Mary Lou Henrich, and I'm running for House District 46. I'll tell you more.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, it's 46. I had it wrong. All right.
That's okay.
Fine. Matthew, would you introduce yourself? And then I have to tell you about the who's attending tonight. Go ahead.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about it. Match Williams, he, him pronouns. I am your representative at Southeast Uplift. So if you have questions, I'm often your first point of contact at the District Coalition office. And just excited to listen what you're all discussing tonight. Glad to be here.
Okay, so what I need to tell you though, Matthew, is that only 2 board members are present. The others are.
Oh, so there's no quorum.
Well, our bylaws do not provide a quorum for
Oh,
board
gotcha.
meetings, only for membership meetings. So we met the membership quorum, but I don't know that we can pass any motions or anything at the board meeting that, and I was going to try to bring up the, you know, the matter that you've been writing me about. So hit the PSEF, but let's see what we can do. All right. Okay, so thank you very much for attending, everybody, and we will assume we have approved the agenda, excuse me, and I'd like to, and we've done our introductions, so I would like to introduce or have Mary Lou Henrich, I'll
Mhm.
get that pronunciation right,
Good.
make a presentation to us about her campaign for state representative from her district, which is 46, not 26.
Which is your district, yes. Am I on? Yeah.
Yes, you're on.
Okay, greetings all. I'm Mary Lou Henrich, as she said, and I am running for House District 46, which includes from Stark Street on the north down to the county line on the south. You're closer to the county line. And most of the area from the 205 freeway down to about 50th Street. So roughly that's it. It does take a little pooch out in the Foster Powell area to include all of Lentz. So other than that, it's basically kind of a square with a little H on the end of it. On the east, let's see, what would that be? That would be the southeast end of the district. So, but you're definitely in it, Brentwood, Darlington, Arrow Heights. All of that is definitely in this district. A little bit about me. I'm a public health nurse underneath everything. That's where I've started, and it kind of holds my heart. That's what I did for many years. I ended up being the deputy director of Multnomah County Health Department. I then was the founding, they called him executive director, but now it's fancy. It's the CEO of Care Oregon, which has grown from, we had basically 3 of us that worked to make it happen and 7 of us that started it. And when I left 10 years later, we had 100 employees and about 50,000 members. They now
Nice.
have over 1,000 employees, I hear, and 500,000 members. So it's like, wow. Never did we ever imagine that would be the case down the road. But I think we started a good organization with strong values about reaching out to community and really providing really good health care to low-income people that are on the Oregon Health Plan. So anyway, I'm proud of that. I also am very proud of my role starting the first school-based health center at, we called it Teen Clinic in those days, but at Roosevelt High School in North Portland, and having a full service mental health, physical health, reproductive health services in high schools. And it was very controversial. And I had a lot of interesting names I was called and things that people told me that, you know, I was actually at one school board meeting, I was told I was a devil worshiper. I don't know why, how that came to be, but it was actually from a woman who kind of haunted Multnomah County, speaking up at county meetings, but she lived in Clackamas County. So I was never quite sure why. She was always there, you know, saying how terrible everything we did in Multnomah County was. I felt like, well, maybe you should go talk to your own county. But
That's great.
anyway, we did that. Now there are 75 of those school-based health centers across the state, and they are beloved and really sought after. So that, and then after I left Care Oregon, I a small organization that was then called Community Health Partnership existed, and I was asked to come and help it grow. And I was the only paid staff member at the time. And it grew into what's called the Oregon Public Health Institute. And probably the most long-lasting thing that I've done in my career was to really lead and shepherd through the passage of nutrition standards for what foods can be sold, foods and beverages that can be sold in our schools. So we cannot have Coca-Cola and sugar sweetened beverages sold in Oregon schools. Also, we can't have there. When I first started this, there were at Fernwood Middle School, I remember there was a machine that, you know, put your money in and you got out of it a package of cookies that had 600 calories. I mean, it was a big package of cookies. And people said, oh, well, they can share them with their friends. Well, how many middle school kids do you know that are going to put their dollar in the machine and say, oh, come on over and share my cookies with me? So anyway, we were really concerned, and it still is a concern about childhood obesity and leading to diabetes and all kinds of other bad health problems. So anyway, that was an exciting thing. And the other thing that we did was worked with now Senator Merkley, who was at that time a state representative and Speaker of the House, to get laws passed where moms can breastfeed in public. They also have the rights to have, if they want to pump breast milk when they're at work, that they're to be given breaks and a safe, clean room in which to do it. And it's so important for babies to have mother's milk, if at all possible. But when they're premature and that's not possible, then I help start the milk bank, which is the human milk bank that supplies human milk to hospitals for preemie babies. So
Oh my gosh.
those are some of the kinds of things that I did, and I'm very proud of. And I was really about ready to just kind of go into a more full retirement. But you know, life comes along, and Con Pham, who is the current state rep, I helped her get elected 4 years ago, and I've worked on her Senate campaign. But she decided to go after Senator Dembro's seat, who is retiring, and so she will no longer fill the seat. Well, I believe there's still a lot of work to be done on many issues. And the one I'm most familiar with and involved in is an affordable universal health care. And so I've been working with a group called Healthcare for All Oregon for the last 6 years on the board of directors. And I've done a lot of advocating from the outside, like many of you have. This is, you know, you're trying to get the lawmakers to listen and to believe in what you're talking about. And you're on the outside kind of getting appointments and giving testimonies and doing all those things. And when this seat opened up, I thought, you know, maybe it's time to try to get to be inside the room where it's really happening. And I happen to have been lucky to see Hamilton this year, and the song In the Room Where it happens. And I thought, okay, maybe this is the time. So that's why I jumped into the race. I am in it to win it. I'm working hard. I'm knocking on doors. I hit number 797 this afternoon. And I'm hoping and planning, my goal is to knock on at least 5,000 doors and meet people that are going to be in, you know, that will be my constituents, and let them know that I will be accessible. And I want to hear, I want to know what the issues are. I've lived in Portland in the district since a child. I actually bought my parents' home about 20 years ago. And so I live near Mount Tabor Park over on the north end of the district. You're down on the south end of the district. But I feel like I've been here. I will always be here. I raised my children here. My son went to Benson High School, Binsmead Middle School. And when you say Lane, it makes my heart warm. I was the supervisor of public health nurses that were school nurses at Lane Middle School quite a long time ago. But I had Arleta Grade School and Kellogg Middle School and Lane. And so I'm real familiar with your area and with the issues and needs. And it is one of the areas that I started knocking doors in, I guess it was late December, early January, and some of that cold and icky weather. But it was really, really nice to come and, you know, touch bases with people and to, you know, see the big park and see Lane Middle School and feel like, oh my goodness,
Mary Lou, I have a question.
Yes.
What issue, as you're knocking on doors and talking to people, what issues
Are
the
people
salient
saying,
ones that they're raising? Yeah.
well, people resonate with the fact that I'm a nurse and a lot of the healthcare issues, that things are unaffordable and that inaccessible and a lot of inequity. But the things that people are most concerned about are really city and county issues. They really are the issues of homelessness, graffiti, drug use. And as a state legislator, our job is to really provide the funding for local city and state officials to be really working on the ground with many of these issues. Transportation is another one. Now that is one that has state policy implications, and the fact that ConFam worked very hard with, you know, others before her, but to get 82nd Avenue to be a city responsibility, so that PBOT is in charge of really revamping it. And I heard, I'm sorry, I missed, there was a meeting at Marysville School the other night where they were laying out some of those initial design plans for how to make 82nd more livable, walkable, and not such a corridor where people are dying. I mean, people are getting run over and dying on 82nd Avenue. Same way with Powell and Division and Foster. I mean, many of those major thoroughfares are very dangerous. And they were, you know, basically made for people to drive through, not for neighborhoods and people who live there. So I think issues, the climate is another issue that I have heard some, and I think if, you know, I had longer to talk to people on the porch, I think I would hear even more. People very concerned about their children, their grandchildren, and the whole issue of the environment. And that has been ConFam's, you know, #1 issue. And she's done really good work. And I've told her that although I'm not as much of an expert as she is on that, she will be the state senator. And so I will take my lead from Con on the, you know, specific steps that we need to be taking kind of in order. But, you know, I would say, but a lot of people down in your neighborhood will say to me, I came from Northeast Portland, and really the homeless thing and some of that was really a lot worse. People feel, at least the ones I've talked to on the door, feeling pretty happy and safe in Brentwood Darlington. It didn't seem to be that I was hearing as much as I have in a couple of other parts of my district where people aren't feeling as safe, but maybe it was just the people I talked to. But people have been welcoming. I have very much enjoyed talking with people on the doorstep and introducing myself and asking them for their issues and asking them for their vote. And I know that the neighborhood associations, you know, cannot endorse me, and that's not what I'm asking for. I simply wanted to introduce myself, get to know you. And Stephanie's been great. Last month I tried to get on, and for some reason my microphone wasn't working, and we couldn't make any sense of why it wasn't. So she's been great. She did a practice session with me this week to be sure that it was working, so I
And
didn't
the
get on.
poltergeists went away, so.
Yeah, they did.
No,
And
we
it's just
diagnosed it, you know, there are
So,
ghosts in the
right. And
system.
I guess one of the things, kind of my campaign slogan is that I'm passionate, I am progressive, and I'm persistent. And probably the most important thing that I've learned in my life is persistence. You just, you know, you don't win the first time. You can't just take your marbles and go home. You need to kind of bring them back and say, we're going to try this again, or maybe come at it a different way, or bring a bigger coalition. A lot of different things that in things I've implemented, I found that it didn't go real easy the first time. And so I am persistent. I'm kind of like a dog with a bone. And I came across a quotation from Angela Davis that I've actually put on my little walk card that I'm leaving at people's houses. And it says, I'm no longer accepting things I cannot change. I'm changing things I cannot accept.
Great quote from her.
And
Yeah.
I love it. And that really is what I'm out here to do. So I don't-
Wonderful. Let me ask others here if they have a question. Tina, do you have any questions for Mary Lou? No? How about you, Gail? Anna or Lisa? How about you, Matthew?
I suppose one's kind of about rising cost of living and just the public servants that benefit all of us and serve all of us. I guess what would your commitment be if elected for House District 46 to ensure that our public constituents and servants can continue to benefit us and remain in place
Yep.
amongst the rising costs?
Right, right. Well, I was just listening before I came onto this to President Biden's State of the Union, and inflation is coming down. People still aren't feeling it at the grocery store as much, or the gas station. But I'm a strong labor person. I have been a member of the Oregon Nurses Association for 50 years. And my daughter is a special ed teacher in Portland Public Schools. She's been at Wrigler over in Northeast Portland. She's been on a medical leave because she's very unfortunately been one of the long COVID people. She got COVID before there was vaccine, and it is still causing her havoc. So, but when Portland Public School teachers went out on strike, I was there with her. And I have been interviewed now by many of the unions, and many of them in a contested Democratic primary, which is what we've got here. Many of them just kind of stay out until it's decided who's going to be, because we're both, my opponent is a former member of AFSCME, and I'm a member of ONA. And so it's kind of like, other than that, AFSCME has endorsed him, ONA has endorsed me. But I'm excited to tell you, you're the first people publicly that will know this. I just got a text from Governor Kotek today that she's going to endorse me. And I've known her even before she became a representative. So she and I, we chaired something called Healthy Kids Learn Better Coalition. And we worked for a lot of policies in the schools and with Department of Education. And so I asked her, would she be willing to endorse? And just this afternoon, I got a text from her saying, I'll be endorsing you. So I'm pleased with that.
And so, but to follow up on, I mean, I'm glad to hear that. That's a great
Yes.
endorsement. But so do you have any thoughts about what you would do to help people stay in place who are struggling with rents and high food costs and so on?
Well, yesterday, I've been meeting with lots. When you do this thing, you start meeting with all kinds of various groups about endorsements. And it's hard and exhausting and soul searching and trying to find out, kind of what can we do and what can you do as a state representative. So I think the housing bill that just passed, that Governor Kotek is going to be signing, I think that's really important. I have been asked whether I would have signed 4002, which is the one that will make, the law did pass, that will make public use of drugs a misdemeanor, but people won't go to jail if they get treatment, et cetera. That was a really hard bill for many people, and Representative Pham voted against it because of concerns about communities of color being unfairly treated. And I totally understand that. And I understand that as a nurse, that drug addiction is a disease. And just like we don't give up on people if they have diabetes, and oftentimes they don't follow their diet or the exercise they're supposed to, but we don't say, like, well, too bad. We continue to work with them. I think if I'd had to vote, to be very honest, I think I would have voted yes. Because just the streets of Portland are, and too many people dying of fentanyl overdoses. So I think we have to have a bit of carrot and stick in some of these things. And I'm much more for the carrot, but I do think at some point you have to say, we cannot let you keep harming yourself and potentially others.
Right. Okay, so Mary Lou, we should stop now just in
Yes.
interest of time.
Yep.
But thank you very much. And go to Mary Lou's website, which is marylougetsresults.com.
Yeah, I can type that in here real quick and then I'll buzz off for you because I know you've got
Well, we're very happy to meet you and hear your presentation, and I'll be writing up a takeaway that I sent you
okay.
this. So and
And
then
I
I'll
may
be talking to you.
and I may be knocking on your door. So anyway, do
Lovely.
take care and thank you so much for letting me come.
Oh, absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Mary Lou. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Go Lane Middle School.
You're welcome in my classroom anytime.
Okay, thank you.
I was just sharing the Billy and Barry second community survey, that Marysville event you're talking about. I was there, but you can provide public comment on the proposed changes. Just sharing that with you all.
Oh, okay, fine. All right. And I was going to bring up, the PSEF funding at the board meeting. So if you can stick around for that, that's when I'll bring it up, Matthew. Okay. And Linda Goldser of Master Gardeners is here, has joined us. Welcome, Linda.
Thanks. I'm sorry. I was having some computer problems and I can't seem to get my photo thing on, the video on.
All right. Well, look at your name then. That's all right. All right. So we're running a little bit late, so I'd like to have our Lane Middle School people make their presentation now. Anna Cox, head of the PTA, and Lisa Kaufman, who's a teacher at Lane. Go ahead, Anna.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having us. So we didn't have enough time in our February presentation to really talk about one of the amazing projects that Lisa heads up over at Lane Middle School. And Lisa, I'm not sure how you want to do this. We have the presentation, but I know you have some updates as well.
Mhm.
So do you have a preference?
So I don't know, are you on the updated version?
I don't know. I'm on the one that we've been sharing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is there a way, can I present?
Well, can you see share screen anywhere? If not, I'll just make you co-host and
Yes.
Should be under the bottom 3 dots.
Yes, I can. Hang on. Okay. All right, here we are.
okay, very fine. Okay.
Hopefully that works. Okay. Okay. So so I am an avid teacher currently this year at Lane Middle School. And I've worked at Lane Middle School for gosh, 7 or 8 years now. And when I first got hired with Portland Public Schools, I was actually in Washington, D.C. with my 6th grader, and we were touring the Capitol. It was really important for us as a family to bring the experiences of our government to our own kids. My husband's a historian. I'm a historian. We do a lot of work with World War II veterans. So back in 2020, actually back in 2018, Lane started looking at sending our students to Washington, D.C. And of course, our 2020 trip that we worked so hard for was canceled because of COVID. So a couple of years ago, after we were all back in person, our students brought up that they still wanted to go to DC. So I called EF Tours, and they offered me a better deal to take our students not only to DC, but also to New York. And we took them up on their offer. Every single year that we've worked with EF Tours, they've given us a scholarship of anywhere from $200 to $400 to make it a little bit more affordable. We are a Title I school, and it's not easy for a lot of our families to be able to put the money together to send their kids on this trip. Thing is that most of the middle schools that are around us have a trip like this, or they even have other trips. And so we felt like it was really important at that time to offer these trips for our students. So EF Tours is not a Portland Public School based program. Which makes it a little bit easier because all of the insurance and everything else is actually through EF Tours. But it's become our annual 8th grade trip. And we're on the 3rd principal that I've had so far at Lane Middle School since we've been doing these trips. And so we'll see what happens going forward. But last year we had a pretty extensive trip, and I'm just gonna kind of go through this a little bit. So last year was our very, very first trip that we got off the ground. It took our students 2 years to fundraise for it and for our families to raise the money to be able to go. It's been a common rite of passage trip, and most of our students last year, I was kind of surprised, most of our students fundraised on their own. So each of their families did different things to fundraise to be able to go. Each student gets a little GoFundMe link, and many families will send that out. But we had students last year do everything from their parents sold pot stickers and spring rolls, and other students made soap, handmade soap that they sold. This year we had several students that went to Woodstock school to sell at their craft fair. And I mean, we've even had parents get part-time jobs to be able to go. We've done some school fundraising, and some have been great and some have totally flopped. Right now I have a lot of candy in my house. They're $1 per bar. They're really great. You're welcome to them. So
But you were gonna sell them, but they didn't work, or what?
well, so healthy schools. Last year our principal didn't care. That principal was just like, yep, go for it. You know, they're going down to Sawyer's anyway, and they're buying junk food and bringing it into the building anyway. So we might as well do something that we can control. And so we actually, I mean, we made probably $500 or $600 last year with concessions that were in the school. We were always really careful not to sell it during lunch because we're promoting our free lunch program. This year our principal nixed everything, and most of it was after we bought it all. So that's fun. My kids are happy, but you know, it's fine. And that's okay. I mean, things like that are going to happen, and we can roll with it. But we also had a lot of teachers last year just directly contribute to students, especially our students that are working hard, and we know what their stories are. We know what their families are going through. So, and last year we fully funded a student who is 4.0 student for Black excellence, really trying to support our BIPOC community. And really anybody who comes to me and says, I really want to go, or I really want my kid to go, then I've been working really hard with them to make it a reality. And that's just from my own journey. So these are some pictures of our kids last year. We had so much fun. We really, really did. And some of these kids were the kids that were so shy in classes, really didn't feel like they had a place. And even in the middle of this trip, and when I say in the middle, this trip should have ended after 5 days, but we were actually in DC and New York, and then again in DC for a total of 10 days because of flights. In some ways, I feel like we worked twice as hard to get this trip. And so we got our money's worth, and it was fabulous. But there were a lot of these kids that were, they would go to school and they would do the things they needed to do. And, at times like things were just really rough and people didn't know who they were. They didn't have a chance to share their personality. And every single one of these students left this trip knowing who they were, knowing that they could wash their clothes in the sink, knowing that they could support each other and that they could do hard things, like legitimately because they did hard things. So I'm very, very proud of our kids. So just to talk about this trip really quickly, just so you guys have an idea. This trip usually runs about $3,000 now with inflation. When we first started, it was about 25, but we would get it down to about 2,000. And every time they would increase the price, I would call, just like it was Comcast or Xfinity, and I would negotiate with them and tell them we were going to walk away, and then they would lower it for me. And so I spent a lot of time negotiating. And right now, for example, the cost that it is right now with inflation, this trip is right now about $300 more than it was 2 years ago when we started.
Is this is airfare and the whole works? The
This
flight,
is
I
what-
see, yeah, flights, hotel, private. You
Yeah.
might reach out to Boeing. Their public image is really bad. Right?
Well, so they did,
Might
and
just send you for free.
I
but-
see your hand raised. So our students, when we were stuck, they actually like came back and gave all of our students a free flight. So, and some of those students are trying to figure out how to use it for to go and to visit colleges. But Matthew, you have your hand raised.
I was just thinking if there's someone to work with on creating these like economic discounts. I don't know, like who are you calling? And is there a way they can just automatically for Title I students be like, 80% cost, 20% reduction? Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking about what might be the
So-
systemic solutions here.
This is
Educate.
the honest truth is I need somebody. I need someone on my side to be the person who can start contacting some of the businesses and to start saying like, look, we have this really, really great thing. Help us. I mean, help our students go. And that's like legitimately what I need. I am a full-time teacher. Avid is not just a 9 to 4:15 job, or it's actually like what 8 to whatever. It's not I work a lot more than 8 hours a day. I work a lot more than I get paid. Because I'm also working with students and I'm working with their families and I'm working with these kids to get them ready to go to high school. And then my students who are up in high school are also calling me all the time, getting help so that they can get ready for college.
Well, thank you for
Avid
the
is,
details.
what's
Like,
it?
I was just thanks for sharing on the details. It helps me understand the situation a lot better.
Yeah. And
It's lift.
yeah, and I think that's the really tough thing. And so that's really why, I'm reaching out for I'm reaching out for help, to raise this money for our kids. I'm not gonna lie, like last year, I mean, with one of our kids, there was no way. I mean, their mom called me up and they were like, well, what are we gonna do? And I legitimately just started calling family members and I said, I don't need a Christmas present. My kids don't need a Christmas present. Can you just do this for me? And I spend a lot of money of my own money on my students. I know thank goodness we have a PTA this year that is so in our community because they're supporting our teachers even with classroom supplies that, we've never had that before at Lane. We're just very used and trained to pull money out of our pockets for our kids. So this year, our trip actually just closed yesterday. If we were going to add anybody to our trip, we would have to call and negotiate, and we could probably do that if we had like a couple kids that just barely missed the cutoff. But this trip has been promoted for 2 years as well. So this year's group that's going, I feel pretty confident that the kids who are going are the people who are like supposed to go. I think there are a couple students that probably would have liked to go, but their parents were like, no. for various reasons. And so they just use the funds as an excuse. So this year's trip, just kind of by the numbers, I'll speed through here because like I said, you know, I mean, my own kid who's going to New York for her senior year, it's about $3,000 for her. She doesn't get a break. She is getting a job. That's different. Our kids are a little different. So last year we had 21 students and we had 3 adult chaperones. This year we now have 18 enrolled students. 5 of those students enrolled within 24 hours of the cutoff date, of which was kind of crazy because these kids waited, you know, and parents also waited. So that ensures us for 2 chaperones, which the company pays for free. And then we also have 2 other adults who are parents. The parents pay about $3,000 a piece. Neither of them should have to pay that full amount because I know that both of them are going to step up and be parents and chaperones. So we are hoping to do something for them. Right now, though, we only have 4. This year is a little different than last year. We only have 4 kids that paid without any fundraising. You know, they used their tax money or they used whatever else. We have 10 students this year who are fundraising on their own. Most of them have done a lot of it. One of the students actually opened up a GoFundMe, which is very questionable as to how he did it. But he raised $700 before he even asked his mom if he could go on the trip. So our kids that want to go. And they have been working really hard for this. We have one student who is in our equity fund, which teachers will probably cover the cost. And we're asking people in the community to cover the cost and to help with this student. And we have 3 students who will also use equity funds from somewhere between 25 to 50%. So last year, I told you really quickly about a student who's a 4.0 student, Black Excellence. She still is maintaining a 4.0. She's in high school now. She's amazing, absolutely amazing. The student is a little different. The student who is our equity fund this year. He has a 3. I think he has a 3.4, 3.5 GPA in 8th grade. It was not the same last year. His mom has him enrolled, I mean, you know, in programs and stuff during the day. He's been playing football for Franklin High School with a lot of our other 8th graders who are going on this trip. He has an older brother who's 24 who was in gangs when he was 13, 14 years old. And the student applied to be an Avid, applied to be in my classroom, and in a circle, he looked at all of us. We said, oh, what do we want to be when we grow up? What do we want to do in the next year? And this kid, deadpan face, looked at me and said, I want to join a gang.
Oh,
And we had a huge conversation about it. Huge, the whole class did. And we listened. And the thing is that our kids lack opportunities in our area. They really, really do. And last year, even when we were on this trip, I mean, we had several of our students, our former students who got caught up in some gun violence in our area, in our neighborhoods. We have students that are being pulled into gangs, and it's very hard because in Portland, especially if you're white presenting, which I'm white presenting, even though I'm Hispanic, it is something that's very taboo to talk about. And because nobody's talking about it, we're not doing the things that we need to do to prevent that.
oh, wow. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So the very, very best way that we can do something for our students is number 1, talking about it and making sure that we have opportunities, making sure that we have, you know, we have basketball now at Lane. We've got folks who are coming in every day after school for Sun. We have Trio coming in every day. We have REAP programs. And like I said, principals come and go. And nobody wants to talk about it. But the fact is that our students, all of our students matter. This student's mom, we called her And she cried because she knows what she went through with her older son. And her older son got involved, and he's involved. And we had some really tough conversations with this kid. But at the end of it, what really comes to is that opportunities. If he believes that his opportunity is limited to this area, to finding community and finding money and finding all those things, then that's where he's going to go. If we pull him into our school families, into our school programs, and we offer those opportunities, and we can show these students that you can make a lot of money in business with a degree. You can make a lot of money because you're smart. It doesn't have to be street smart. These are the companies that you can get in touch with now so that you can start forming a relationship, so that by the time that you're 16 to 18, you already have a job lined up. You know what an internship is. And so this student is involved in TRIO, which will work with him with Upward Bound. So what we're doing is we're going to pull him on this trip. He's going to go, and he's going to see that the world is a lot bigger than Portland, Oregon, because if kids only know what's in their backyard, that's their limit.
It's a good point. Wow.
So we're doing that. He is, then he's coming back, and he's going to be taking classes with TRIO at Portland State University for about 6 weeks while he gets ready for high school. While he's in high school, he will have AVID, he will have TRIO, he will have all of those other things and stuff in those support systems. And now he also has a big family, a big group of people who are surrounding him to help him, cheer him on for his future.
Wow. Okay.
So that's why we chose this student. And I would really like community support to start reaching out beyond teachers' pockets to be able to start helping our students have these opportunities.
Lisa, do you have his EF Tours link on here? Does he have one yet?
I
Do we
don't,
know?
because legitimately last night, like I
Mhm.
got a text message from his mom last night as she's trying to sign him up, and her debit card's not working, and this and that and everything. I paid for his thing on my debit card.
Yeah.
And we're fixing it all this week because mom's coming in. She's trying to do the things.
Okay.
And so he will have his link, and I will be happy to share that and to forward it.
That'd
So
be great.
each kid has their own link.
Mm-hmm.
Just to let you guys kind of know. We did start this GoFundMe scholarship, and so the money that I used to start his tour was from this equity scholarship. Right now our equity goal for this trip, we were hoping at first we were going to try and raise enough for 5 students. That was our pie in the sky. But really what we're looking at for this trip is for the other 4 students and for this student. And so this is kind of our goal right now.
Okay. We should stop here because of the
Time.
because of the time.
Yes.
But I so appreciate what you've shown us, which is something we don't know from our daily lives, the details of these students who are struggling and deprived of opportunities and so on. So this is really important to know about, Lisa. Thank you for sharing this with us. And I will absolutely put this out on a takeaway to our email list. And maybe we can start getting some of that community support that you're seeking for your students.
Yes. I'm trying to stop sharing. And I think, like I said, I mean, Lane has a long history. We have some histories that we love to share. We have some really glowing things. And I love our school. I love our community. And, you know, there are lots of fights just to keep our programs as well.
Would you say that last sentence again?
Well, there's lots of fights to keep our programs as well, because after the strike, there are lots of cuts.
Oh, oh, so you need to fight to retain programs in the face of these cuts.
Mhm.
I see, okay. That seems like a whole other subject for a presentation.
Yes,
Right.
yep.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I think a lot of people in Portland know, and I don't think Portland Public Schools is being very clear with the details. And so we'll see how that goes.
I'm sorry to hear that. It's okay, so I'll talk to you about maybe having another presentation just about programs being cut, right? But thank you for this amazing look. Oh, Gail, go ahead.
My daughter went to Washington, DC when she went to Lane, and she still talks about it.
Oh, really?
Oh,
When did your daughter go? Can I ask?
yeah. 2001? Long time ago.
Long time ago.
I've been at Lane for a long time, off and on. Yeah, it's a valuable experience. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Washington, DC is an amazing place.
Okay, well, we'll put the word out and maybe we can start building over time community support for this, but we'll start with a takeaway from your presentation tonight, Lisa, and go on from there, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And oh my gosh, I want to thank you for your help with distributing flyers for our spring recycling, but that's not nearly as heart-wrenching as the story you have just told us. But thank you anyway for sending flyers home with the students. We really appreciate it. And okay, all right. So I think we need to move on. Thank you again. That was very heartrending, very moving, and I didn't realize the depth of the problems there. That I drive by Lane and I don't know what's happening in the school. I don't know the students, I don't know the teachers, but now I have some look inside. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Okay. Let's we have to move on quickly. It's already 8:30. We should be starting the board meeting, but we have some other things we need to talk about. Linda Goldser, can you really briefly tell us what's happening with Master Gardeners real fast?
Yeah, we're just starting with our spring garden days, so we're open every Monday and Thursday now from 9 to noon. Everybody is welcome to come by and visit. And as the weather gets better, obviously there will be more plants blooming, etc. But there has been also, I don't know if you know, Stephanie, but there has also been thefts over at the Portland Public Schools maintenance yard. And to the degree that they now just got approved a full-time security guard for weekends 24/7 and Monday through Friday from I think 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. something like that in the maintenance yard over there on the Green Thumb properties. So hopefully that will help with the thefts that have been happening there with the maintenance yard, Black Future Farms, Master Gardener, PSU, all of that area there. So, and that's really all we have right now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad about the security guard. I'm sorry
Yes.
that it has to come to that
Yeah.
it's a considerable expense, but something has to be done. You can't, you all in that area are just under siege and from these nighttime thieves. So great to hear about the security guard. And Gail, I want to talk about movies in the park. Can you tell us? Talk to us about it. Did your sound go out? We can't hear you.
There, how's that?
Okay, that's good. All right, tell us what happened.
I wish I knew. I sent the application in the day they got sent out. I sent it back immediately. And apparently we're being swept under the rug this year. So we can do something on our own. We
Did you-
could do a
did you-
fundraiser.
Yeah, I mean, you talked, did
I
you
have a
talk to
marching
your,
band.
did you talk to the marching band?
Oh yeah, we need to pick a date.
But also we need to pick a site,
We can have it in the park.
but then we need to reserve the place. I mean, we have to
Yeah.
hurry because it's already March. Can you, and you were talking about having the field next to the community center.
Yeah,
I don't know who owns that,
Lane,
but can you find out and reserve it?
Lane. That
Yeah.
should be Lane property.
PPS.
PBS, yeah.
Did you ask feedback on the application? Like where it fell short? I
Uh,
think all grant tours should.
yeah,
provide that.
apparently they had too many applications. I'm
Okay.
like, I know how it works. I set the darn thing up. I was a little miffed at their lack of communication. So,
Well, the people who are awarding it don't realize that you and Richard started the whole tradition.
no.
And as those people, as those founders, you should probably always be awarded a movie or a
Something,
concert.
yeah.
Uh,
But they said, go ahead, do something on your own. So I'm going.
yeah, but that can get kind of pricey because of the insurance. And we have to pay to clean up afterwards, and we need some security. So we'll have to price that out and
Why
see
do we
if
need
can.
security for a concert? We never had security before.
I'm sure that Parks had somebody around.
They had employees,
Okay, but with something we need to consider.
yeah.
Okay.
I think
Alright.
we do a whole community event. We can do it for neighbor night out in August.
Okay, all right, well, let's you and I
Like,
talk about it some more at the in the next week or so and
Yeah,
figure out a strategy. Okay.
yeah.
All right, very good. Thank you. And I'm sorry that they
I'm
turned you down. They
still-
shouldn't have. It's the first time, right? First time ever that you've ever been turned down? I mean,
We got displaced one year, but the head of parks called me up and apologized for about an hour and a half. It was beyond his control.
uh-huh. Oh,
And this time we got, we didn't schedule you. We went with someone else. Like,
okay. All right. Well, I will talk to you in the next week and
Yeah.
and we'll make a plan. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Then quickly, I just want to call attention to the fact that PBOT is now starting on our sidewalk inlay. They're working on Flavel Street first, and then they'll go up to Duke. But when they're done, we're going to have sidewalks, continuous sidewalks on both sides of each street from 52nd to 82nd. So this is really exciting and been a long time coming, but it's going to be a wonderful thing. It's
Like a
nice to
decade.
see them out working. Yeah,
it's 1992.
since 1992 is when
I've
the
been
first.
working on this since 1992.
Oh my gosh, that okay. Wow. Well, all right, it's happening now. And
Yay.
finally, yeah. Let's see, what else? I'm gonna skip the Gaza letter. With the agenda, I attached a letter that was approved by Southeast Uplift. It has to do with Gaza. You can all read it if you want. I'm not gonna stop to talk about it right now. Now, one of the things we've introduced at our general meetings is an offer to those present to suggest items for future agenda discussion and for action. We've already suggested dangerous speeding on the streets, vandalism in our ag center. Okay, well, now we know that there's going to be security guards, so that's good. And then there's a newcomer who's concerned about the potholes in the gravel roads. And anyway, we'll take these things up as we can over the weeks ahead. Maybe we'll put the vandalism in the ag center. I'll talk to Linda. We'll get maybe have a presentation on that. And then I want to know whether anyone has any other suggestions for future agendas of those of us who are present.
Other than neighbor night out.
Well, okay, I mean, I'm going to put that here because we do need to talk about that, but that
It's not a,
it's under items of public interest, so. But yes, that we will be
someone
taking
could
that
come
up.
and sell candy bars.
Well, we can get all that candy from Lisa, right?
It's really good candy too. I could get more. Just gonna chime in and yeah, it's great.
Might I
okay.
suggest revisiting the LTIC local transportation infrastructure charge requirements to compel sidewalk infill once in maybe a half-mile proximity of public schools. That might be an area which Brentwood Darlington Neighborhood Association and PTA Lane could help influence policy. And also
Yeah.
maybe support the future neighborhood center. Again, like you can't opt out of the LTIC within a half-mile radius of the future neighborhood center to make it a destination you want to visit to.
Okay, I have made note of that. Thank you very much, Matthew. All right, so it's now 7:40. So I'm going to conclude the general meeting, and we have a board meeting next where we have to discuss some important issues. So I invite everyone to stay on if they want, but probably you tired teachers want to go to bed, you know, that when I walked into the office at Lane the other day and I encountered Anna, my first thought was, oh, this is a very, very tired person.
You are correct. Yeah. Yep.
When they're done
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Anyway, we will transition to our board meeting. You're very welcome to stay, but if you leave, that's fine too. We understand that. Okay, and Linda has said goodbye. Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you, Stephanie. I'm gonna
Okay.
bow out. All right.
Thank
Okay, very
you.
fine. That's very
Okay.
understandable. Thank
Bye.
you so much for coming and presenting and giving
Yes.
us this in-depth look at what you contend with there and what you're doing.
Yes. Yes. I'm
Students
gonna
are
try
really
to come.
lucky to have you.
I'm gonna try to come to more BDNA meetings if that's okay
Yeah.
too. I'll
Oh, we would
contact you
love
about
that.
All right.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank
Okay,
you so
yes,
much for all
thanks.
of your support for us.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you so
Mhm.
much. All right,
Yep.
take care. Bye-bye. All right, so now we will transition to our board meeting. Okay, hold on. So who's here? Gail, me, and Tina, Matthew.
We can't vote on anything.
No, I know, because we're down, we have 2 board members present. The bylaws are very mysterious.
I
They
know.
say that the organization must have a minimum of 5 board members. But it doesn't say,
To vote, only to vote.
doesn't say what is possible if you don't have 5. And the bylaws say whoever shows up may conduct business.
We can
But
make.
there obviously has to be a bottom limit. I mean,
Make
if
them
you only,
honorary board members for the next hour.
okay, Matthew and
that.
Tina, you can be honorary board members.
We have
then.
done that.
Well,
I mean,
already
I
am.
work for a nonprofit that serves your area, so I would qualify in that regard.
But you're here and that's what counts.
We're gonna count you anyway. Then.
I mean,
The quorum
Okay.
specified in your bylaws says 5 members. So even if you did do some special
No, the
allocation for me,
quorum applies only to members.
Right.
okay,
There's a distinct section in our bylaws. It is for member meetings,
Yep.
general meetings and special meetings. The board meeting, the board and the board meetings are completely separate. And if you go and look at the ONI template, you see that that division is made between
it's very clear.
quorum for general meetings and quorum for board. And our
It-
bylaws do not have quorum for board.
and I'll just throw it out there. The O&I template is very biased and Southeast
Well, it's the one we're,
updates.
it's the one we're supposed to go by, right?
No, you don't have to. Like, you are an independent nonprofit. You just have to make sure you meet the O&I standards. The O&I provide template, though, is very biased and separate from the O&I standards.
I assumed that it reflected the standards.
There's some implicit bias that's definitely evident throughout it, based on the leadership at the time at O&I.
Tina, I can tell you want to speak. Talk to us.
No, I'm like, so, it's coming, it's ebb and flowed. So it's like, that's not necessarily the standard we have to keep. It was strongly suggested at one point, and then it wasn't. So it's kind of like, so.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help with you all on like an update to the bylaws. Like, for example, as a Oregon nonprofit, which Brentwood Darlington Neighborhood Association is, the city of Portland says in exchange for recognition, we have these things. However, the city of Portland might be overexerting their authority in compelling compliance to a standards that's not held by the state of Oregon, which has the authority to compel those compliance or requirements. So it's a conflict of law. Like, city of Portland, anyways, like, I can help you navigate that conversation. We've consulted with the Center for Nonprofit Law, and the state eminent nonprofit attorney on this issue. So it's not
Long gone.
Yeah.
I don't even want to
okay.
contemplate
We'll cross that bridge when we do.
agony. Thank you.
As the neighborhood, as one of the advisors, I can tell you that Gil's always pretty gung-ho, but honestly, the board is a little burnt out of doing all the work.
Yes.
So, Machu, no offense, but I think you saying, hey, let's have this talk about the bylaws. Stephanie's on look from the outside in, she's close to breaking. She's not, I wouldn't be adding that to her plate right this
No,
second.
I mean, that would be like, I can offer suggestions on how to ease the burden on you all while still being compliant with the state. That's kind of like what I'm saying here, to ease some administrative overhead and burden.
Well, I'm not really sure I have followed exactly what you've told me, so I'll have to catch up with you later and hear
Yeah.
a reiteration about the state versus the city and so on. I feel that at the neighborhood level, where we're trying to stay afloat, and I have been working really hard to make sure that everything is up to date, and we do all the meetings, and all of the bookkeeping is impeccable, and so on.
As it is, so we know that. So thank you.
And I don't
Shop.
want to, but I'm starting to bend under the weight of the of the requirements. And as Tina said, we are at an ebb right now. There have been times when the neighborhood association had 20 people, 17 people.
Oh, yeah.
And when I joined, it has 17. And then since then, it has fallen off, especially during COVID. Really crashed. Last summer, in the summer 22, it collapsed. I mean, we didn't have really, the BDNA didn't really exist, and was without a chair, and wasn't able to hold at least one meeting. So we have tried to rescue it, but now we are losing board members again, and we're just 4 of us. But now one of my outside advisors belongs to Centennial Neighborhood, they have 3 people on their board.
Yeah.
And she
that's totally
advised
fine.
me, get rid of all the people who don't work. Well, I haven't actively tried to get rid of anybody, but the people that we have left are the people who are most committed to the organization right now.
I mean, my suggestion would be like, take your board meetings down to the bare minimum required, which is like 1 per year, and then scale it up to what the neighborhood needs. So that might be a quarterly meeting of the board. I think
But
that
we need well, Match, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we need to have more board meetings because there's so much work that isn't
fit.
done. I mean, we don't have, there are policies that we should have in place that we don't have. The bylaws need revision, as you know. If we're going to do events and so on, we've got to have the board involved. It seems to me like we should get rid of the general meetings and have
Yes.
them less frequently.
you should have just the general meeting to be the annual election, in my opinion, and then board meetings as needed. We need to pass policy and deliberate on it, but you can all work towards those recommendations, present it at maybe a quarterly meeting of the board to deliberate and adopt. So like, it doesn't necessarily have to happen at the board meeting, but like you could be strategic about the things you're absolutely required to do, and then like work towards these recommendations, amendments, policies. You're welcome to do that in your committees. It's only you as the board that have that executive authority, and your land use transportation committee and your bylaws, where you have to take those minutes. So you can meet outside of it to develop recommendations to the board on which the deliberations happen. So sometimes people like read the O&I standards and they feel like handcuffed by it. I think you can develop a structure in a way that allows the flexibility based on your own capacity. And I think good work compels more volunteers. So if you're getting burnt out, that's a great thing. Lean into that and like acknowledge it, and then figure out a way to work with it within your limits. Because you have so much wisdom, and I would hate to lose that. So I would highly encourage scaling it back.
Okay, the
Fundamental
meetings, yeah, the meetings are not, the meetings are actually not the basic problem. But anyway, I don't want to talk about it right now because we have some things we need to address, but I will talk to you more, Matthew, and I appreciate the help that you're going to give me.
Yes.
Or us. Yeah. Okay, so I want to launch the meeting. We'll go through as fast as we can. We're going to talk about, I'll go through the agenda really fast. We're going to talk about the critical moment that we have reached for the BDNA and what I propose. And then once we've done that, there are some things I wanted to go through, but since we don't really, you know, if we just had one more board member here, and if the 3 of us voted unanimously, then we could say, even if, say, Derek weren't here, we could outvote him, right? We'd be a majority, but we only have 2 board members here. So I don't know whether we can conduct any business. I wanted to approve the application for the book club.
Oh, we can do that. We don't need to bring that before the board.
Well, I like to, because if these groups are co-sponsored by BDNA, like the Crafting Circle, then we are, if it's co-sponsored BDNA event, then we are covered by insurance. And
Is the book club meeting at the community center?
yes,
Then
We
it's a
want
community
to.
center, crafting circle off spring.
I'm sorry, say it again.
It can fall under the same umbrella that crafting circle does. It's a community event at the community center hosted by Brentwood Darlington.
Okay.
Just add it to the calendar. It doesn't need to be voted on. It's just
You know something, I don't agree. I like to approve these to make sure that we know that they are that we are their co-host or course or co-sponsor. I think of those as synonyms. I think it's important to have the board say yay or nay. Otherwise it's easy to start slipping in people who are I don't know. I feel that there is going to be more authority and more control if we go through this formal process. And I want to make sure that we have the insurance coverage. And that is done by having the board say, this is a BDNA
Okay,
program. And
Okay.
Tina, I mean, you and Tina are part of the crafting circle, and so you have a BDNA presence there.
right.
Tina's part of the book club, so that's a BDNA presence for the book club. Lisa Jameson is part of the NET group, and so then she represents a BDNA presence. So this is very, very important. I mean, Nancy Champlin at Southeast Uplift said, you know, we can't just invite anybody off the street, right, to use the BDNA, BDCC, and then expect them to be covered by insurance and all that. There has to be a BDNA program. So we make it a BDNA program by having people tied to it and by having board approval.
When is the book club meeting?
I'm sorry, what?
When would the book club meet?
I don't know that we've chosen a date for it, but it would be one of
Yes,
our
we did.
one of
It's
our
on the form.
okay, I don't
didn't
remember.
get a form.
I have the form, just a
Oh.
moment. It's right here, but I just didn't remember it. Okay, third
I'm on my phone,
Tuesday.
I can't see
It's
my
once a month. Okay, you can't see this, so let me share screen and book club. Share. Okay, here's the application. It could be
Ah,
the third Tuesday of every month from 7 to 9.
Tuesday. That
Tuesday.
works
Yep.
for me.
Yeah,
would
and
work
I'm
for you?
like, hey, Gil, come join us. You're a bookworm.
Okay, what are we reading?
This first month we're doing. I'll message you.
Okay. Oh, no,
Actually, I
I
can pull
don't
it up.
message.
Hang on.
My message is broken.
Okay, well, so
My messenger's broken. I can't message.
okay.
That's okay.
So because we're only 2 people here, though, I don't feel that we can approve this. But what is this about making honorary board members? But we don't have a majority vote here
Yeah,
to
we don't
make,
have 5 total people.
yeah.
And I haven't read the entirety of the Brentwood Darlington bylaws in a while, but I'm looking here at section 6 and it's saying the responsibilities of the Brentwood Darlington board officers. And like B is make decisions and represent the interests of BDNA on all matters for which it is impractical to present to the membership in advance. And I feel like you've made the effort to present the issue in advance, though. And all such actions will be reported to the membership at the next meeting, so that could be emphasized at the following meeting in the interim. And appoint committees to perform necessary functions and represent BNA on specific topics. And it seems like a very specific topic. So I don't know, I feel like you all, despite lacking like the quorum of 5, might be able to say in the interim, we are doing this and we'll shall report back to you all at the next meeting. Like, I don't know, at a lay reading, it seems like you could do this as long as you make it a priority to emphasize it at the next meeting.
Right.
Thank you. You're rescuing us. Got you. All right. So let us say that in conformity with the bylaws, we
Yeah.
have performed our civic duty, right?
To the
Right.
best of our ability. And yeah.
Okay. All right.
And you know, I just put the title and author in the chat.
Oh,
Okay. I'm just making a little note. All right, let's just say that we are approving the book club because we've discussed it. We're going to share it with the membership.
Yeah.
We'll discuss it at the next meeting.
right.
And they can recall it if that's just wildly inappropriate. And I really don't think that'll be the case.
No, I don't think so with something like this. Okay.
I have to get that book. I don't have that one.
It's
All
pretty
right.
cheap. Yeah.
Okay, so Tina, all right, you're on with the book club then.
Yay,
Sarah.
thank you.
I second.
Thank you, Matthew. And okay. Yeah. Shall I shall I say, we have adopted this? No, I'm just going to use some of Matthew's language and say that we have responsibly attended to this matter.
Yeah, with the constraints presented, and we'll report back to the membership at the next meeting. Or
Okay.
newsletter.
Okay. All right, very fine. All right, the next problem has to do with a resignation. Vivian Chung resigned, except that she didn't tell us back in December. She thinks that she resigned in December, but none of us got the mental wave from her saying that she had resigned. And so recently she sent a note that stated late February or something, that she had resigned. So now that's official. Our bylaws do not provide a way in which people should resign. So if they think they've resigned, they're as fully in compliance with the bylaws as if they wrote it out that they're resigning. So this is something that we need to fix in the bylaws. You know, if you're going to resign, you have to send us something in writing.
Yeah,
Okay, but
Yeah,
anyway.
I'd encourage that. I think that's kind of in compliance of ORS requirements for nonprofits in Oregon. It's just basically notify the board or chair that you're resigning and they acknowledge receipt of your resignation.
Mhm.
But
Okay,
I
well,
like your
in this
suggestion,
case, yeah,
Stephanie.
we didn't really get anything in December. She was thinking in her mind, she had resigned. And
I mean, that's
so-
a great suggestion about saying what the terms of resignation are. Just notify the chair or secretary or both, preferably,
Right.
or you miss 4 meetings in a row, something to that effect.
I
Well,
said 3.
3, all right.
do have, if you miss 3
think it
meetings in
is
a row,
3.
but nevertheless, I would
3
like to have
unexcused
something
meetings, yeah.
explicit. Tell the chair that you're
Yes.
resigning, or if you're afraid of the chair, tell someone who will tell the chair, whatever it is that, and okay, but anyway, I just want us
Post-it
to
note will do.
acknowledge that Vivian Chung has resigned, so I can, take her
Send the
off the
minutes.
roster and
Good to
put her
know.
in the resigned folder and so on. Okay. I guess I was going to offer a motion, but I think instead I'll just say that we're responsibly dealing with this resignation situation.
Okay.
I will report
Okay.
it at the next meeting.
I think it's de facto, but you might recap it next month if you
Yeah.
feel so compelled.
Okay, so now we come to the tough part for me. We're down to 4 directors. The bylaws say we were supposed to have 5, but it doesn't say what happens if there are fewer than 5. So I propose that we just carry on as best we can right now while responsibly addressing different issues.
Right.
But I want to launch a recruitment campaign for the next 3 months. And by the way, Gail, I got some more flyers printed by Oregon Business Forums
Oh, good.
just because we need them, but I still want yours too, because I want to drown that neighborhood in these flyers. I'm going to be putting out notices everywhere. I'm going to be speaking, and then I'm going to be asking our board members and advisors, to hand them to their neighbors and their friends and people they run into in the store and
Yep.
whatever it takes. But if we cannot get even a couple more board members, if we cannot get any board members, then I am proposing to put the BDNA into a state of hibernation because I'm exhausted and I cannot keep I'm doing the chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, and land use. And then I'm also working on the BDCC with Andy Nelson. And I wake up in the middle of the night with my stomach in knots and feeling, oh my God, this, I have to do this and this and this tomorrow. Can I get it done? Is it going to be okay? And I can't go on like that. So, and I have had some unwelcome health news concerning my eyes.
Oh,
I have macular degeneration in both eyes. And so this is concerning to me. I'm sure that stress makes it worse. So I'm going to say that if we can, or even if we cannot increase the number of people on our board, I am still going to leave at the end as chair at the end of September. But if we can't get any more board members, I will help to put the BDNA into a state of hibernation from which it can be easily awakened by future people who want the neighborhood association to be alive. And so that means the following, for example, I will close the checking account, but I will put the money in our account at Southeast Uplift, so it stays safe.
Right.
Then I will make sure I'll pay forward our website domain name hosting and all that for a few years, so that it doesn't cost very much, so that is just guaranteed. I'll make sure that all the books that we keep, receipts, everything are immaculate, that is all up to date, and then I will make sure that that Southeast Uplift gets copy of the records that I've been maintaining. Also, we'll find somebody to help me download all our archive documents from our Google Drive and put on a disk or something, and again, for safekeeping at Southeast Uplift. And so, I mean, there are more things that need to be done. We'll close the Zoom account, download the MailChimp list, and so on. And so if it's done right, then if somebody's very interested in, if we get a new wave, Tina talked about ebb and flow. If we get a new flow, people will be able to start it up very easily again. Because I don't want to just walk away. I would feel too terrible. But I also feel that I do need to set a date when I'm going to leave, because I'm tired and because I'm old and because my eyes, I want to be able to make use of the time when I still have good eyesight. And so I also feel that BDNA needs somebody who's younger and who's grounded in the community and has lots of contacts, which I haven't. I came in without having many contacts here, and I'm kind of an introvert, and so I'm not out there like you, Gail and Tina, everybody in town, and so though I've worked hard on the BDNA, I haven't brought people in. I don't know people. I don't know anyone, and so you need a different kind of leadership here. But so maybe that's what we could find when we're recruiting. It's not bringing people in under the same regime or the same chair. It is bringing people in with a chair who's leaving and will provide the ultimate in transition and support.
Well,
And
we have elections in May.
yeah,
Hopefully we can find people by May. Unfortunately, I will be out of the country for that meeting. I will be member at large, and I will do all my committees.
if we only have 4 board members, I don't know if we can hold election. Tina, yes.
Is there a way to defer when elections occur to, say, August, so that gives time for recruitment and people to start coming and just getting through the newsletter and meeting what the neighborhood association does and is for our community, to really give it a chance versus, because if we do the election in May, that's a month and a half, 2 months.
Mhm.
That doesn't really allow people to get a feel before you're basically, if you're stepping down in September, at the end of September, it makes for a bumpier transition if we can't just do the election at 1st of August.
That's not a bad suggestion, and that hadn't even occurred to me, because
The
I
only
just
way we
don't.
can delay is if we don't have a quorum in May. Then we can defer to June.
Well, you can't have a quorum in May because you're going to be out of country.
I know. But
I-
hopefully everyone else will be.
All right, let's consult the Oracle. Nachu.
I was gonna say,
I'll be
like,
here in
your
spirit.
bylaws
I
are
might
your,
be able to Zoom from Canada.
Let's hear from Nachu.
yeah, like be on Zoom in works, but you know, your bylaws are like your guiding principle, your guiding document. But however, if the board votes in a majority of in favor, you can defer the elections till later. You just have to record that into your minutes. So which means having quorum, which is its own challenge. So you could do that. You could delay to August. That would be fine as long as you had a majority vote in agreement.
Mhm.
You know,
Well,
and that's
Go ahead.
that's one of those things that if to get a quorum, even if like somebody has a flu, somebody's at work, if we could coordinate the time
Mhm.
and pause whatever is happening to do that one vote, and then
Yep.
they can log off, that still counts as a vote.
It does, just as long as you follow the emergency meeting requirements,
Exactly. So
72
if it-
hours, maybe
Yeah.
11 a.m. on Thursday works great for you all, and so be it.
do it. But it just takes coordinating and following the rules on getting that vote to happen.
Yeah.
At which point the board can choose for its own betterment, which it would be to
Yes.
defer the date of the election. It still gives time for anybody that steps into those positions to shadow the outgoing people. But it also gives recruitment time because currently we don't have enough people coming to the meetings to elect a board.
Yeah, and I will say, like, when the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan was at the Planning Commission, there were some very passionate neighbors from 72nd and Flavel, not necessarily in full support of the plan, but however, nonetheless, very passionate neighbors in your community that, you know, I'm like, you're passionate, like, that'd be great to recruit you. You know, to get your membership up and have a full board. So flyers in that area of town would probably, I think, help, is what I'm saying, on the utility poles and whatnot. Technically, you're supposed to ask for permission from the utility companies, but I don't think that's ever stopped anyone from putting flyers up before. So
That's litter and
just don't get
express.
caught.
Tina, what?
I said that's littering and it's gross.
Well, and hardly anybody
You're correct.
sees people.
Put them
They
on
don't,
the
it's not a
community
walk.
boards
People
instead of
don't
a
walk
telephone
around the
pole.
neighborhood here. Hardly anyone would see that, but we can get people. We're going to ask the board and advisors to distribute our flyers up and down the streets. And I'm going to be speaking at various organizations, and I'll be putting posts on Next Door and Neighbors Connected and our own mail chimp list and
And-
at our website. And so we should be getting the word out.
And I would say that, like, the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan, when it goes before City Council in April 24th, there's not a business district in your neighborhood. And so I think working with Venture Portland and having Brentwood Darlington be active, it seems like kind of a pivotal moment. So that could be an area for recruitment within the existing businesses in your neighborhood.
I'm sorry, I didn't follow that at all. How would,
I was saying Brentwood Darlington Neighbor Association might be able to recruit from the local businesses to help in forming a business district association pending adoption of that plan.
but we don't have any businesses. What are you talking
We
about?
do.
Starlight Knitting? And
Grocery Outlet, Cleanorama, you know, anything that's a business.
The
Vibe.
mini markets.
The corner markets, yes.
And pubs,
That too.
taverns, stores,
All the above.
hot shops.
East Second Avenue, all the above.
Yep, we tried
Okay,
that.
well,
once. We didn't
we'll
get a
see.
whole lot of response.
all
I
right.
mean, you all are a nonprofit corporation. That's a type of business corporation, a very unique kind, but it is still a business.
Okay, all right, well, I'm silenced on we have no businesses, then. Okay, all right, well, I like the idea of holding an emergency meeting to vote on postponing our elections to August. Thank you, Tina, that was a really, really, really good idea. And
I I just couldn't see doing an election beginning of May.
Yeah,
where we don't have any new blood, and then you'd be leaving as chair halfway through the election year. It doesn't create synergy and build motivation for incoming people to step up.
no,
So,
I think this is great. Thank you so much. A very valuable suggestion. Okay. All right. Well, so we'll just leave it at that. I'll arrange for an emergency meeting where we can get Kim DeLeo and Derek, Gail, and me together and vote on postponing the elections to August, and we'll make sure that we widely disperse that information, although of course very few people know about the neighborhood association right now, so
I mean, I've been
be
trying
news to them then.
I've been trying to encourage Aaron Klein to apply to your land use committee, since he seems very interested in those matters.
Aaron Klein.
He was on the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan Advisory Committee, and I think works for a safety and peace nonprofit, whatever they're called. So anyways, it seems to be a resident and very concerned about the future of the neighborhood. So I mean, that's the kind of energy you need.
Okay, well, there was one person who showed up for our Southeast land use meeting who was really concerned about providing more affordable housing, and I got in touch with him and asked him if he would if he could track the MLDS issues or instances so that we could calculate over the last year or so by how much we have increased the number of housing units we have, and he I told him how to use the search at Portland Maps and so on. I laid it all out, and I haven't heard a word from him. And but anyway, I will try to track down Aaron Klein and see who he is. Okay, all right. Well, so now I've made the announcement. We have a plan for going forward. Thank you, Tina. Okay, so let me look at the other stuff I would just quickly like to bring up. I was going to go, I had asked board members and advisors, what they thought BDNA should work on and what would be their pet project. I think I'll save that for the next meeting now that we have some breathing space. I mean, it's getting really late, and I would like to go over that because it's very inspiring. Actually, I think it'll be nice for us to take that in and share each other's ideas, suggestions, and will help us in our recruitment. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you about the recruitment, I ordered all these all these flyers from Oregon Business Forums. So I would like to distribute them to you, maybe 25 to each of you, to pass out to people you know. And I have these little cards too that on one side gives our strengths, and the other side gives information on that you can put into texts. It's very concise. So somebody in our neighborhood asked for that. It's a way of passing stuff on from one person to the next because everyone texts these days. So I'll give you cards, I'll give you the flyers, and then I have some suggested ideas for how to talk to people. And one of them is to share your ideas about what you think BDNA should be doing. And you've already laid that out, I've already asked you and you've thought about it. So that's important too. And then I also came up with this metaphor that I thought was apropos. BDNA is able to do a lot of things for the neighborhood. And it, to me, it's like a factory that has these wonderful machines in it. And they're sitting silent because we don't have operators for the machines. If we have those operators, that factory can really serve this neighborhood. So that's another possibility to bring up to people, that we're in perfect working order. Step up and work on the website. We've got an upgraded website. Do posts for our MailChimp, our create a newsletter, form committees and have some events. We have a good working relationship with Impact Northwest, and we can get use of the community center free, of course. We always have that, but anyway, I mean, that we have that wonderful resource in the community center. There's just so much we can do, and we just need to let people know that there's a machine. Here's a machine here, machine there, over here. It needs an operator. So again, that's some language that you might use, and I'll tell Derek and Kim and Lisa and some of the other advisors too about that metaphor. So we'll go out, and I said I'll be speaking to different groups. I spoke to the PTA the other night. That was my first public speech to be recruiting, and I'm going to go to the East Side Village. The aging in place people. They've got a lot of peppy seniors who can they could do better than playing mahjong and knitting. Well, knitting is nice though, but
Like mahjong.
they could do some serious work. And I'm going to be talking to them tomorrow. And so anyway, we'll all be working. We're going to try to revive the neighborhood association because it is so full of potential. I can hardly bear it when I think about it, and I see how we haven't brought it to life yet, but I think we can, and I'm going to work very hard. Yes, Tina.
Can you put out the word on either Facebook and or in the newsletter that we still need at least 4 additional volunteers for the spring green? Last year we had some of the middle school or high school kids. Those are the 4 spots we're still trying to fill.
Okay, well,
Maybe have those
sorry, I didn't
volunteers
share.
pop over.
Wait, I didn't share with you that I've lined up the 2 kids who can collect information. Like
Okay.
you're talking about the two young girls who had the clipboards, and they were asking people where they learned about the event, because I've got that settled. And then I
Okay.
asked Greg Anderson to come and help us. He's the waste hauling guy.
Right, but he comes to help in the aspect of he's working. He's not
Okay, so
filling one of our.
what do we need in the way of volunteers besides the clipboard girls?
So Kim has agreed to help with event setup, and she said she'd help with manning during the time. But we have set the BDNA table, collect donations, record donations, hand out the literature, photos, data collection, which is the 2 volunteers that you've got from that you've already lined up. So, and then takedown. So, but we could really use at least 2 more adult people to set up takedown, collect data money, that kind of thing. So
Okay.
that it's not mostly just you and me running our tail feathers off.
Right. Okay. Oh. And you, Gail. Okay.
I'm bringing coffee.
Well, I need lots of coffee. I need it as an IV, but that's aside the point.
I'm bringing 2 coffees.
I'll come with my coffee.
Okay, Gail's going to Safeway, and you're gonna get donations and coffee, right? And Laura Lee is going to grocery
Donuts
outlet.
and croissants and so on and so forth.
Okay, Vivian Shung said she'll help me at the front table for a
Okay.
while. For an
Right. So
hour.
I think we can squeak by, but for us to have the energy to really have fun and also be able to participate when we want to, we could use 2 more adults.
Okay, I'm all right. I've got that here. Okay, thank you. All right, and I've been posting all year. I don't know if you've noticed. Okay, fine. All right. Okay, so one of the things we'll need to also approve at the emergency meeting is that we have to move the April 4th meeting to April 11th. This is at the request of the executive director of Southeast Uplift, because she wants people to be available to go up to their mixer. On the other hand, if none of us is going to the mixer, We don't need to move
What
them
mixer?
again. What?
What mixer?
They want to show off their downstairs, which was destroyed by something. I don't know
Oh,
what.
Southeast
And,
Uplift.
Southeast Uplift, and then they're going to have candidates for local city council and maybe mayor milling around. And what else, Matthew? There's those two things, right?
The focus, yeah, is on District 3 city council members and candidates and the mayoral candidates for the city.
Uh-huh.
But then
Let's-
try and invite all the different bureaus from the city of Portland out too, and Multnomah County, et cetera, for a big, open house. So it could be a great networking opportunity, if you're trying to strengthen your connections to Portland Parks or Peabody.
I am terrified of getting COVID again. I just I
Nope.
don't want to go to any gatherings.
Understandable, me too. So
And
I'll
I'm-
probably be more on the outside and try
I still wear a
encourage the
mask at
conversations
work.
outside.
Well, so we'll have to discuss whether any of us is going up there and see whether we need to move that meeting. Let me just think about it, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, okay, so the housekeeping was to approve the minutes and the treasurer, to approve the minutes.
I'm sure they're fine.
I'm sure they're fine too, because I wrote them.
I
So-
know.
And if not, we can amend them later.
Yes.
Fine. Let me see what else there was. And then both of January and February treasurer's reports are done. Everything balances to the penny.
I believe you.
Okay,
Approved.
there's no other business. That's it.
Okay,
Awesome.
What time is spring green?
I'm
What?
sorry,
What time is spring green?
1:30 to 3:30 is the
1:30.
public time, but those of us who are working on it need to be
I
there.
have told all of the vendors and volunteers to show up no earlier than 1, because it should not take more than 30 minutes to set up their table and gab with people.
Okay, so what time do you
So
want?
I'm hoping to meet with Stephanie and get the doors open and get the BDNA table started at about 12:45.
Okay,
Okay.
So
you-
if Gail, you show up with
45?
food and coffee about 1:15, great.
I could be there at 1. 1 is
If
good.
you get there at 1, they're not gonna start their setup, and then they're gonna take until 2 to get set up. No sooner than 1:15.
Okay,
I've done too
Okay,
many
and
events.
then-
I know if you start giving them nauseas and caffeine before they start their work, they don't start their work.
you make sense. Use logic as a defense, why don't you?
I'm a type A personality, huh?
1:15, I'll write it down.
it's a good thing we're not employees of Tina at some big corporation.
I-
that-
Hey, I think my employees really well.
We don't get any donuts before 8 o'clock then.
No, you don't. Have you met
Donuts
Diane
before
from my
1:15.
sister? I mean, yeah, ask my assistant.
Okay, well, Tina, I just wish I had a corporation to give you to run,
I don't.
really do. Uh, So anyway, okay, let's, all right, 8:25, okay, we didn't run overtime because, we didn't have to. This is good. I'm gonna end the meeting now, and,
Okay, Stephanie,
you
not
need-
part of the meeting. I sent you 3 emails during the meeting.
I saw
There-
one has to do with your garden tips, yeah.
So March and April's garden tips are now in your box, as well as the invite that can go into a newsletter inviting the neighborhood to join the books.club group so that they can start coming to our meetings at the community center.
I have to
Okay,
find the book first.
probably I'm not gonna work on this tonight.
I know. You
No,
better
I know.
not. You'll get some sleep.
Yeah,
But this
don't
way
work
you
after
know what
8
you're
p.m.
looking at when you have the energy to send them out.
Yeah, no, I will, and, I, thank you for sending that stuff. It's really important, to keep it going now that we've started it. Okay, so I will focus on this emergency meeting at which we will move our elections to August. And I'll draw heavily on Matthew's idea of responsibly addressing issues in conformance with the bylaws, even though we don't have enough people to vote. So this is very helpful, Matthew.
Yeah, you just keep delaying it until you get enough people. So yeah, it'll be fine.
Let me know
Right.
about April. I'll be
And-
there whenever.
Okay, no, and it's clear. I mean, we have a lot of goodwill here and are trying to do the best we possibly can. So I really don't feel that we can be faulted. Okay, let's stop. This has been slightly on the grueling side, but not too bad. Matthew, thank you for your help. And I will
Go
talk
have
to
a
you
drink.
about, pardon, Gail?
Go have a drink.
I stopped drinking.
Lots to share in the fridge.
Yeah, I'll go have some more coffee. Anyway, that Matthew, eventually I'll talk to you some more about the bylaws and the ONI standards and all that. But thank you very much for your help and your knowledge. I do appreciate all that. And if I sounded angry and sharp, it's just because I'm feeling overburdened and I can't, I just
Yeah,
can't
well, let's
do
let's
anymore.
fix that.
I'll see you next
All right.
Thursday.
Thursday. Oh yeah, that's the craft night, right? And I still am gonna work on the sandwich boards, at least 2 sandwich boards, maybe 3, but
Okay.
all right, good night, everybody. Thank you
Good
so much. And that's been very, very fruitful. Tina, August was brilliant. Thank you. It's great.
Right.
Okay, let me
All right,
stop
night.
recording. Okay.